Of course, there are lots of moving parts in the cattle industry, and right now they are all apparently moving. Joining us now is Derrell Peel, our livestock marketing specialist. And Derrell, let's start off talking about those high prices.
Well, it's been a pretty incredible spring so far this year, particularly for feeder cattle markets. We've got very high prices. Box beef and fed cattle prices have been a little bit up and down the last couple of weeks, but in general, we've had a good run this spring. We're probably near some sort of spring peak seasonally. We may back off just a little bit, but all things considered, I think these prices are going to remain very strong.
Of course, we've talked extensively about the drought and how it impacted Oklahoma cattle producers. Now we're kind of on the back side of that. How's that impacting things in your area?
Well, from the standpoint of producers directly affected, it's nice to know now that we are going to have some spraying. We're going to get some forage production. That's very important to producers in the areas that have seen some relief. More importantly, perhaps, in terms of the whole cattle market, the fact that we are going to not have more drought forced culling in the majority of the area. We do still have some drought areas, but it's not of the major cattle areas, relatively speaking. And so that kind of gives us a little bit better knowledge of where we stand in terms of the supply situation. I don't know that we're going to see a very aggressive rebuilding here in the Southern Plains, but at least we won't be liquidating more. And so we kind of start the clock on what to expect the next not only for the next few months, but really for the next few years in terms of this long process it's going to take to rebuild the cattle industry.
Okay, and of course that's a very welcome sign. At least we have some good news to report. And what are some of the other things that you're keeping an eye on the next few months?
Well, the supply situation that we've described is one where we know we're going to be very tight. That's going to support prices as high as the market can possibly stand them. And the question of how high those prices can go really then becomes the demand issue. And so demand is going to take a bigger role going forward in terms of determining just how high and how fast these prices might go up. Obviously, high cattle prices sooner or later has to move up the chain and be translated into higher wholesale and retail prices. And so that's a big issue. Trade has been important for a long time, will continue to be an important part of that component. And obviously the demand depends on the general macroeconomic recovery. We need to continue to see growth and progress there, as well as with respect to competing meats. All of those things look generally favorable, but those are the issues we have to watch from this point on.
Okay, Derrell Peel, we'll see you in a couple weeks. Thanks a lot.